Hello and welcome back to Kim Reads as we continue with Meet Addy. Chapter 5, Freedom Taken. A low rumble woke Addy and her mother. Addy thought it sounded like thunder. Then a light appeared far in the distance. Addy could see it moving towards her, getting bigger and bigger. It looked as if the moon had fallen from the sky and was rolling through the tops of the trees. Safe in the darkness, Addy and her mother crept out of their shelter just in time to see something Addy had only heard about. A train. She could make it out of shape, charging through the darkness. The engine was spitting red sparks, and a ribbon of smoke ran along the length of the train. As it passed along a curve in the tracks, Addy watched the real light disappear in the distance, but instead of moving away in a straight line, the train turned to the right. Addy was puzzled. Then she understood. The train had turned onto a set of tracks she could not even see yet. "Mama, we hear," Addy said a little too loudly. She lowered her voice. "The safe house has to be near where the train turned. We did it, Mama. We made it." Addy threw her arms around Mama. "I think you're right," Mama said. "Let's go." Addy and her mother ran hand in hand toward the place where the train had turned. "We safe now," Addy exclaimed. "We going to Philadelphia." "We ain't there yet," Mama said sharply. "Hush now." "We gonna see Sam and Papa," Addy went on. "Then we come back for us and the whole family gonna be gathered again." Addy pictured them all in Philadelphia, living in a beautiful house. "Freedom ain't that easy, girl," warned Mama. "Don't get your hopes too high." But Addy didn't hear her. Spurred on by her thoughts of Philadelphia, she moved faster and faster, pulling away from Mama. Running fast, she could feel the cowrie shell beat against her chest. She was going to freedom! It was a long way to the place where the train had turned, but Addy was still running when she saw a small light. It looked like the glow of a lantern. Addy thought it must be the window of the safe house. She ran toward it, her mother far behind. It was not until she was closer that she saw that she was wrong. She stopped suddenly. The light was from a small campfire in a clearing near the tracks. A group of men were gathered around it. Addy could see them lying on the ground. She was about to turn back to the other way when she heard a gruff voice call out, "Who's there?" Addy turned. She could see the face of a white man in the light of fire. He had on a gray jacket and a gray hat. He was a Confederate soldier and he was staring right at her. "Oh, it's you, boy. Bring me some water," the soldier said. Although Addy knew he was looking right at her, he didn't think he was talking to her. He was talking to some boy. But what boy? Just then, Addy remembered the disguise. She was the boy. Desperately, Addy looked around, and then she saw a bucket of water. To get it, she had to walk through the soldiers' camp. She saw another soldier on the ground stir. He rolled over. What if they all awoke and captured her? Addy lowered her head, touched the cowrie shell briefly, and began to move. Inside, she was shaking, but on the outside, she was walking straight through the path of sleeping soldiers. She picked up the bucket and brought it to the soldier. "Train scared you, did it, boy?" the soldier asked. Addy kept her head down and nodded. "You'll get used to it for a while. Go back on to sleep," the soldier said. Addy wanted to rush back into the woods, but she knew she couldn't. She acted as though she belonged to the camp. She walked to the edge of the clearing and lay down. The soldier lay down too, and Addy waited for him to finish until she could hear him snoring. Then, as quietly as she could, Addy crept away from the soldiers and out into the woods. "I gotta warn Mama," Addy thought. Just then, she got far enough away from the camp to start running. Someone reached out and grabbed her. It was Mama. She pulled Addy so close to her that Addy could feel the shell pressed between them. Mama held Addy for a long moment and then led her away. When they reformed the camp, Mama spoke at last. "I was watching with them soldiers, Addy. I was holding my breath the whole time. But you did it, girl. You kept your feelings in this time. Your papa would be proud of you." They walked farther along the tracks until they came to a place where two sets of tracks met and formed a silvery cross. A house stood just beyond the cross up the hill. It was a white with red shutters. Papa had been right. To Addy, it seemed like the house was just waiting for them. They did not have to run to it. They only had to walk and knock on the door where freedom was. It would open to them. Addy and her mother crouched in the shadows, staring at the house. There was no light inside. No light from inside. "Why are we waiting?" Addy whispered. "I don't know if it's safe," her mother said. "There might be more than soldiers around." "It's got to be safe," Addy said. "It's a safe house." "Addy, it ain't that simple," Mama said. "Your papa said a white woman lives there. Them soldiers might be coming in and out of there. I don't trust them." "But, Mama, we gotta trust the white woman. If we don't, where are we gonna go?" Addy asked. Without answering, Mama took a deep breath and started pulling up Addy with her. They slipped out of the house and walked to the house. They slipped out of the shadows and walked to the house. Mama tapped lightly on the door. No answer. She tapped again. Still there was no answer. Addy looked at her mother's face. It was calm and still. At last a light glowed in the house. Through a small window, Addy could see the light of a candle moving through the house. She heard the door being unlatched from the other side. It opened, and an old woman not much taller than Addy stood before them. Her face shone in the light of the candle. "Miss Caroline, can you help us?" Addy asked. Addy saw the woman's face twist into an angry scowl. "I thought I told you not to come here, boy. Go back and tell those soldiers I won't help them," Miss Caroline said. She started to help the door. Addy stuck her foot in the door to keep it from closing. "We ain't with them soldiers, ma'am," Addy said quickly, "and I ain't no boy." Addy pulled her hat off, revealing her braids. "Me and my mama are running away to freedom. Can you help us?" Addy saw the look on the woman's face soften. All the anger washed from it. "Come in," Miss Caroline said. "Please come in." Addy and her mother stepped inside. The woman quickly closed the door behind them and led them into the kitchen. "My, oh my," Miss Caroline said. "Those are some fine disguises. I thought you were with those Confederate soldiers. They got here yesterday and sent a boy right over here to ask me for food, but I didn't give them one crumb. I don't cotton to those rebels. You must be tired and hungry. I don't have much and nothing fancy, but you're welcome to it. Sit down and I'll start a fire." Addy and her mother watched the woman work. She seemed to be everywhere, starting the fire, dragging a tin tub next to it, heating a large pot of water, putting plates on the table. "Let us help," Mama said. "No, you sit and rest. I know you must be tired," Miss Caroline said. "Who sent you here?" "Uncle Solomon," Addy's mother said. "We tried to get to Philadelphia." "Oh, Solomon," the woman sighed. "I've known him for over 50 years, since we were both children on farms over next to each other." She served Addy and her mother some rice and boiled greens. Addy felt safe in the small, warm home. While Addy and Mama ate, Miss Caroline left the kitchen. When she turned, she had a bundle of clothes in her arms. "These are clothes I saved for the runaways. After your bath, you find something that fits. You can rest here tonight, then I'll take you to the coast. You can get a ship to Philadelphia from there. We have to leave before sunup, before those soldiers wake in the morning and come back here." "Thank you so much, ma'am," Addy's mother said. "I wish I could do something for you." Addy went to the bundle and untied it. She took out the half-dime Uncle Solomon had given her and held it to the woman. "Oh, I don't want money," Miss Caroline said, "and I don't want you to do anything for me. There's no need to thank me. You're both so brave to escape and come so far. It's thanks enough to know that I'm helping you start a new life." Addy and her mother took long, hot baths. The dirt from their journey melted off from them in the warm night. That night, for the first time in their lives, Addy and Mama slept on a real mattress, not one full of itchy corn husks. Addy tried to stay awake so she could think about how good it felt to be clean and safe, but she was tired. She fell asleep in Mama's arms. Before the sun came up, Addy, Mama, and Miss Caroline got ready to leave the small white house with the red shutters. Mama was dressed in a brown dress, Addy in a pink one. Addy loved her dress with its wiggly white stripes and white buttons coming down the front. It was prettier than anything she had imagined when she dreamed about freedom. Miss Caroline had found a pair of drawers and a straw bonnet that just fit Addy. After Addy tied the ribbon over the hat of their chin, she stood straight and tall for her mother to see. "How do I look, Mama?" Addy asked. Mama's eyes filled with tears. "I wish your papa could see you now, child." Outside, Miss Caroline hid Addy and her mother in the back of her wagon and covered them with some old sacks. The wagon rocked gently as it was pulled away from the safe house. Addy lay close to her mother. She reached to her neck and felt for the shell. Holding it tightly, Addy thought of Esther, Sam, Papa, and even her great-grandma who had come across the water alone. They were with her, all of them. With a deep well of love in her heart, she could feel them with her. "Mama, we done it," Addy said softly. "Just like Papa said, we took our freedom." And that is the last story. The next one will be Addy Learns a Lesson. Thanks for listening. Bye.